The next thing we're going to cover is upper body techniques. Before a wrestler starts to learn upper body techniques or practice upper body techniques, the first thing you have to learn is how to go back into a back arch bridge position. Okay, what we're talking about, and the way that we can work on this thing, is have your partner hold you up. You can step 1 foot between his legs, 1 foot out, or have both feet to the outside. But what we're working on is going back into a back arching position. What you want to try to do is get your hips elevated as high as possible. Anytime you're throwing the opposition, you're going to be carrying that man on your hips and chest. So again, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And what you're working on is arching your hips up in the air, and you're going to look back over your head and see if you can see the mat on your way down. We're going to go right on to the top of our heads. Okay, from here, you bend your knees, you pop your hips up high, and go back into a back bridge position. Okay? That's the type of thing that you want to work on before you start doing throwing techniques or working on upper body techniques. Again, we have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Your partner holds you up. And you can practice this slow, or you can speed it up a little bit. But the key thing we want to concentrate on is use of the hips. You want to elevate your hips as high as possible as you start to go back. Okay, so from here, we're going to pop the hips up, we're going to look back over the head and go right to the top of your head. Here, like that. And you want to practice that as many times as it takes for you to feel comfortable going back into a back bridge position. Once you learn how to do that, you can try it without a partner. The key thing in doing it without a partner is to take your time and make sure that you don't get hurt. Here's an easy way to do it. What you can do is take your knees, and what you want to do to make sure that you do it slow and easy is point your knees way out over your toes before you start. Now, what I'm going to do from here is catch myself with my hands as I go back. You can catch yourself right on your fist, or you can use your hands like this as you go back into the back bridge position. So from here, I'm going to use my fist. You start going real slow, you pop your hips up, and go straight back into a back bridge position. What we're learning how to do there is get maximum use of the hips. Okay. The first position that we're going to learn to throw from and control is the over-underhook position. We'll be working the lateral drop technique. Anytime you're in a tie-up situation with your opposition or with someone that you're wrestling against, you want to try to maintain the best position. That means keeping your hips lower than his hips. The one that has his hips in the best position has a best chance of scoring the takedown. One thing that I like to do when I get into this position is take my outside foot and try to get it to the outside of his foot. My inside foot is back. This allows me to get lower hip elevation and be in a better position to go up underneath him when I start my throw. Now, as far as arm control, I like to control him at the tricep and on his forearm. You're going to control him here and here. So you have his arm locked in 2 places. You're going to control the other side with an underhook. Okay? Underhook, control him at the tricep and the forearm. The outside leg is up and to the outside of his foot. The inside leg is back. You want to be in the best controlled position. Again, try to keep your hips lower than his. If you ever get yourself in a situation where you start to feel uncomfortable and you feel like he's getting the control, one little technique here that will help you get out of this position and get to a safer position is just to come back here, control this wrist, and pull it down to your waist. Now, this makes it difficult for him to start any throwing techniques or to control you. You can control his hand, push it down, and just move away from it. Just take your underhook out on the other side. Okay. As far as starting your throw, anytime you're learning how to throw someone, the first thing you want to do is do it slow. Do it slow and use the proper technique. Okay, so we're controlling him at the wrist and the tricep. You want your head to the same side as the overhook arm. That's important. You don't want to start with your head on the side of your underhook. Same side as your overhook arm. Okay, again, your outside foot is to the outside of his. If it ends up even, or just a little bit to the inside, you're still okay. But what we're talking about here is best control and best throwing position. So you try to get it to the outside. My inside foot is going to be back so that I can keep my hips lower than his and be in a strong position if he starts to throw me. That's one thing you have to keep in mind once you get into this position. We both have the exact same position. So I want to maintain best position and have my hips in the strongest place. Okay, from here, throwing this man, what we're going to do, and if you're working on this with a partner, here's how you work on it. Okay. Right here. Okay. We're going to have my partner hold me up as I go through this throwing motion. This foot is up again. Now, as I start to throw, I'm going to step up inside leg. At this point, both feet are pretty much even. Now, the key is to eliminate the body space between you and your partner. As I start to go back, I'm going to have Rich step to the side a little bit and hold me up. And what's going to happen is I'm going to learn how to use my hip, and Rich is going to gradually let me down as I take him across. Okay, control here, here. All right, now I step up. Now I start to get my hips up as Rich holds me up. Right here. Hips up in the air. Eliminate the body space. Start to look back. Here, all right, now. He lets me down. I take him over, and I roll through. You can work on it that way and do it at that exact same speed. That's how you learn to throw. Watch again. Okay, we're in this position. We control him at the wrist, in the tricep. We're not getting locked in by doing this. I think that's somewhat of a no-no. I like to control him here and here, and then go to the underhook. You always want to throw him towards the overhook arm. That's important. Lock this in. This foot steps up. Okay, Rich steps to the side a little bit just to hold me up. I'm going to work on my hip elevation and eliminating the body space between Rich and myself. Okay, so you're here. I start to get hip elevation here. Eliminate the body space. Hip elevation. Right now you start to throw. Sit through as you take him over. Okay. Once you've got that motion down, then you could speed it up a little bit. The key is to when you start to take him across, you're going to be using everything to your advantage. This arm, this underhook, and your hips. That means as you're going down with him, you're going to be pulling this, lifting this side hard, and popping your hips. Okay, so this time we're going to just speed it up just a little bit. And the best way to do this is to not let your head hit the mat. If you can do it without letting your head hit, that means that you hit a pretty good lateral drop. Every now and then, you can't avoid, letting your head hit the mat. So from here, okay, here we're going to step this back foot up, here, and drop. The key thing is hip elevation, using this arm and this underhook to take him across. Once you've learned how to do that throw, then you're ready for competition, okay? The key thing is the position that you get into, okay? A good way to set this thing up is to push into the opposition a little bit. If you can get him to lean back into you and just start to push back, the foot that you have back is the one that comes up, boom, and then you start your throw. That's a good way to set up your lateral drop throw. The next thing we're going to cover is done from the lateral drop throwing position. This is called the side trip. Basically, all we're doing is trying to get this man to step a little bit with this leg so that we can step behind and control his hips with the outside leg. Okay, for instance, we're in a wrestling position. basic under overhook tie-up position. One thing is I might do, if this leg is back, is just move him in a circle that way. Now from here, I'm just going to step behind his leg here. Now from here, we're just going to squat and take him back. This works best when this man starts to resist a little bit. For instance, okay, I get him to step, and I step behind his leg, and he starts to pull away. From here, now, you block the hip off, go straight behind squat, and take him straight to the mat. Okay, that's another technique that you can use from this over-underhook position. It's called the side trip. Another thing that you might do from this position is to go right into a body lock. You have this arm trapped in, and what you want to do is lock on the opposite side of his body. Here. Again, what you would like to do is trap this arm in, step in, and control his hip. You step with the inside leg now. Step around the outside leg here. Now, you just squeeze, block the hip off, and take him to the mat. Like that. Okay, again. You're here. You lock on the opposite side of his body. You pull him in tight. You step up with the inside leg. Now you step around his hip here, and you start to lean and make it towards his back. That's one way to take it. Another thing that you can do with this body lock is to step around the hip here, and you can lift him up and take him back with a little hip elevation. Like that. Another thing that you can do from this over-unhook position is an inside trip. You start from the same position. What you're going to do is get the opposition moving towards your underhook arm, this way. What you're trying to do is expose this leg. Now, on an inside trip, what you're going to do is step inside this leg, hook, and drive that knee to the mat. Okay, so from here, you circle him, you step deep, drive your knee all the way to the mat, drive your hips in. Now, once you do this, you're going to lean hard to the overhook side in post. Keep your underhook so that you can control him once you hit the mat. Again. Okay? You're in this position. You circle him this way. Step in deep. Hook his leg. Drive your knee to the mat. Drive your hips in. Lean hard towards the overhook arm. This way. Here. Inside trip. Another series of things that you can do from the over-underhook position is to start from what we call arm control. Okay, what you want to do is bring the underhook arm out, come across, and underhook his forearm so that you're controlling this arm at the wrist, the tricep, and under his armpit. You have it controlled in 3 places. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is work what we call a Russian arm throw. It's fairly simple. What we're going to do is step the inside foot to the outside of his foot, here, and the outside foot is going to rotate and step between his legs. So we're doing this, and this. This knee goes down to the mat. The inside leg, which became the outside leg, is going to follow, and you're going to take this man over the shoulder. Once you've taken him over, you rotate back towards your back. You would like to be in a position so that your shoulder is above his. You don't want to be in a position like this, where your shoulder is below his. You want to make sure that your shoulder is above his. From this position, you can come out and go across chest. You can go into a headlock position, or you can go into a half Nelson. Okay, again, on the throwing position, from here, you come across, and you underhook this arm so that you control him at the wrist, the elbow, and right under his armpit. Now from here, you control this tight. Keep your head on this side of his arm. You step to the outside here, and you're going to pivot this trailing leg between his now. Here. Take him over. Rotate back. Your shoulder is above his. Cross chest. Headlock position. Half Nelson. The key thing on this is the way that you complete your rotation. Okay? Again, you step to the outside. The trailing leg now goes between his legs, here and here. Inside knee goes down, outside knee follows. Get him up over your shoulder, you pull. In some cases, this inside knee may need to pop back up again, like such. Here. Rotate around. Make sure that your shoulder is above his. Another technique that can be done from this position before you change is a Japanese whizzer. Some people call it an arm throw, some a Japanese whizzer. There's lots of names for it. Okay, from here, what we're going to do is step to the outside of his foot. This arm comes under and wraps right under his armpit. As we do that, we're going to go into a back arch position. Here, arch high, come all the way through. Again, you roll around and pop your shoulder. You can use the same finishes that we did before. Across, headlock, turn in, look for your half. Okay, again. So you're in this over on the hook position. From here, you step, you come under his armpit. You're getting to the outside of his body. The key thing on this is how well you arch. From here, high arch. Here, you take a move. Rotate up, pop your shoulder. Okay, the next thing we're going to cover is what I call a thigh tap. Okay, you're in this position here, and all we're going to do here is come across and pop his thigh. When you do that, it's best to have this inside foot forward. That will allow you to rotate this foot back and give him space to fall. So from here, you change your footing. Keep your hips low. Right now, we come across here, we pull this in tight, and we move here. And we come right over top. Okay, from here, inside foot forward, control this. Come across, give him space, here, and down. Okay, the next set of techniques we want to cover is a foot sweep. This is a nice technique because when you do it, a lot of the times your opponent will end up on his back. And if you get your timing right, it's a tough technique to stop. Basically, we want to start from two underhooks, from a position where you have two underhooks. On a foot sweep, you want to pull down on one side and up on the other side. You always want to sweep the downside. You always want to give him a little space to fall. So as I pull down, rather than move into him and sweep, we're going to move away from him as we pull down and sweep the leg. So the key is moving away from him, giving him space to fall as you sweep. So we're going to start from two underhooks right here. Many times what you need to do is take a little step in. Again, lift this side, pull down on the other side. Now, you want to catch his foot right along the side or anywhere right here along his ankle. It's best if you can catch his whole foot. It's also good when you can get him putting weight on that foot. Or better still, when you can get him in the process of stepping, because his weight will eventually come down on that foot. So here's what we're going to do. From this position, we pull down on one side, up on the other side, we take a little step, and we sweep. And right to his back. Okay, the key again is to give him space to fall. Many times wrestlers will lean into him and try to sweep like this. That's a mistake. What you want to do is lean away from him as you take your step in. Pull down, lift up, and sweep the leg. Another position that you can sweep from is an inside control underhook position. From here, we're going to pull down on one side, up on the other side to do the sweep. Again, you always sweep the down side. So from here, you could be wrestling, you slide right into an underhook, you take a step, pull down on this side. Now, as you pull down, you come up, you sweep, you lean back, and give him space to fall. So from here, into a foot sweep. Another position that you can hit this from is from this position where you slide the hand back and control the wrist. Again, you pull down on this side. What we're going to do is drive this arm right into his rib area, okay? Again, we're going to drive this into his rib area as we step. Pull down on this side, give him space to fall as we sweep. From here, you step here. Now, you pull down on this side and sweep. Down to the mat. You can also do your foot sweeps from a Russian tie position. Okay, from this position here, you have your Russian tie. You're putting pressure on this man's arm. What you would like for him to do is resist by pulling this arm back. When he does that, what we're going to do is step around, come under this side, and sweep as he resists the pressure from your Russian tie. You control him here, he starts to pull back, you step in, you come under the arm, sweep. Okay, the next set of techniques we're going to do is the headlock. We're going to show two basic ways that you can hit a headlock. Okay, the first one is from your inside control tie. And the key thing on your headlock is your footwork and how you use your hips. Because that's what you're going to cut this man off with, and also that's what you're going to throw him across when you hit your headlock. Okay, you have inside control tie, you have a collar tie-up. You want to be as tight as you can with this collar tie-up. Now, from here, the basic foot movement for your headlock is to step in and go into what we call a back step. You're going to step in. Now, from here, we're going to pivot on that front toe and step behind with the trailing foot here. At this point, we want to get the hips into him and drive the shoulder across his head as we shoot the hips across. There's two ways you can take a headlock. You can do what we call a sag, or you can take this man high over your hips. If you want to take him high over your hips, you're going to have to shoot the hips all the way across his body. Now again, you're in this position here. If you can get his head just to come up just a little bit, you want to drive your shoulder below that head and shoot your hand straight across as you move into your headlock position. Again, the key thing on this headlock is footwork. You want to work and become real efficient at this type of motion. It's called the back step. You step in, you pivot on the front foot, the trail foot follows as you rotate in a circle. Okay, this time we're going to take him over. So from here, we step in, we shoot the hips all the way across, and take him over. Once you headlock someone, you want to make sure that you end up perpendicular. You don't want to let this man move around parallel. If he starts moving around parallel this way, you want to move this way to finish it off. Okay. The second way that you can take this headlock is what we call a sag. From here, you step in. Again, this time we're just going to drive this inside knee down to the mat and take him down. You're going to use your hips to cut him off and take him down to the mat.